Hello everyone and welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg where we find ourselves on Gresven. Spawning right here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the red Terran SCVs. We have the Gumi God himself, the Towel Terran, one of the most creative Terran players in the world. He's from South Korea and he goes by the name of GuMiho. He's a man of many nicknames. His opponent in the opposite corner. Now that I think of it, I don't actually know a single one of his nicknames other than, well, the one that he plays with. According to Wikipedia, one of this man's nicknames is the Shirt Eater. I have literally never heard anybody call him that, but we are looking inside of the main base of Solar. Alrighty, Solar versus GuMiho. Both of these guys ridiculously good at the game. Solar, maybe not the spiciest player in the world, generally speaking. He plays a relatively reactionary style, so what he does is he, well, will try to absorb every blow that the Terran player will throw at him, and he's gonna scout his very best to figure out exactly what's going on the other side of the map, and then eventually he tends to swarm the opponent. But he's definitely a more laid-back, a more passive Zerg that lets the Terran player decide the pacing of the game, and I think that will suit GuMiho just fine. He decided to go for a command center first right here on the low ground. That is, of course, a little bit greedy. Barracks now on the back of this, but this is GuMiho not just playing the matchup, not just playing the map, because this map does seem pretty darn good for Terran. Especially versus Zerg, actually. I've seen a lot of late games lately where, well, the battle is all about the 12 o'clock position, these two bases over here, and then the 6 o'clock position with these two bases over here at the bottom. Anyways, I've seen a lot of longer games on this map recently, and it seems that Terran is having a pretty good time. Either way, this is GuMiho playing the opponent, of course. He wants his, very quick command center out. And I've actually seen Gumi go for some very greedy strategies recently, where he rushes out a third command center, and then he rushes out double armory, and he basically attacks as soon as he finishes 3-3 on his mech. Which is, like, especially with a quick triple CC opener, you basically have absolutely no units in the early game, maybe like one Reaper or something, but maybe two Hellions if you're lucky. If there's any sort of aggression coming across the map, he would be in a lot of trouble, but we don't even know if he's going to be playing that build yet at this point in time, so we'll have to see. Anyways, double orbital command right from the get-go. Solar's going to see this as well, and now he knows what he's playing against. Decides to back off. This is a change in the Overlord meta on this particular map. For the longest time, Zerg players were hiding their Overlords right over there. Generally speaking, it seems that this pillar, yeah, this one right over here, is the preferred location. Now, Terrans have gotten a little bit too good at flying their structures around and getting rid of all of this very early, so he's actually sending that Reaper in a very interesting path. Maybe a little? Really? Maybe GuMiho knows something about Solar that I don't, but it almost seemed to me like he was confused about, there's nothing that he's seen right now. He's just a little bit concerned about a proxy third, I guess. Where his opponent is already building roaches on his side of the map. I don't think that's really going to happen, though. There is one Zergling out over here. There should be another link somewhere else. Yeah, they're all just hanging out at home. Okay, this guy apparently is the chosen one. He sacrifices himself. He kills the Terran. No? Okay, sorry, I'll stop singing for you. It's gonna be a normal 1-1-1 right here, but with a very quick second command center and a very quick third command center as well. By the way, we'll have to see how the energy levels go in this particular video. I woke up to a terrible realization this morning. Okay, you ready for this? I ran out of coffee. Now, I never run out of coffee. I probably drink a little bit too much coffee. I want to try and record 2 videos this morning because I'm actually going on a little trip very soon. So maybe actually by the time you're watching this, I don't know exactly when I'm going to be publishing this. But anyways, I've got a bunch of events coming up over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I don't know. Of course, whenever I'm away from home, I always try to make videos in advance. And in order to stay on schedule, man, I need to make 2 videos this morning. And if I go out and get coffee, I probably don't have time. I could also decide to cut into my Diablo 4 playtime, but, you know, not gonna do that. Well, maybe I'll go out actually before I start my stream later today. I think that's what I'll do. Solar being very strange right here with the Overlord. First he went over there, then he went over there, then he went over there, then now over... Okay, yeah, eventually he's just gonna lose it. Normal timing for an Overlord scout is about 3:45 to 4 minutes. So he did see the timing of, well, all the command centers in this game, so that's kind of nice. He's also seen a bunch of Hellions, he's seen a Viking. So he knows that it's a standard 1-1-1 opener with a triple CC, right? So This is of course nice to know, but there's still quite a bit of variety that Terran players can throw at you. It's very difficult to figure out exactly what you're playing against still. Just because, well, this is a normal game. There we go. We've got ourselves a mech follow-up though. So that's gonna be difficult here for Mr. Solar to figure out. Yeah, normally we'd see additional barracks right now, but apparently Gumi has decided to save up all of these Hellions and now we're driving. This is a strange amount of Hellions to save up, man. 9 Hellions, 10 Hellions in total right now. This really shouldn't be dealing any damage. No, I was gonna say. Most of the time you see Terran players roaming the map as soon as Hellions hit the battlefield. Maybe when they get 4 out at latest to try and control that creep spread. But since Gumi decided to sit back, yeah, the creep is already looking really nice. He did, however, not expect a Banshee after the Viking though. And this is, yeah, exactly what he's hoping for right here. GuMiho, that is. We're gonna need to see an Overseer very soon. There's an Overseer coming up, but for the time being, okay, we're transfusing drones. A couple of Hellions once again showing up, a little group of them. Okay. Good crisis management here, though, so far by Solar. I think he's gonna end up losing 6 or 7 drones. There is a Spore. That one is positioned in such a way. Ooh, okay, it's a Spire on the back of this. That's really interesting. Hellions once again. That Spore was positioned to counter Liberators. Links going across the map, by the way. Which I do quite like, but additional Hellions do now show up, and that's a big scout right here for Solar. We already saw 10 Hellions, which is a lot. And you can definitely count on the fact that Solar is counting. Ooh, Hyperflight Rotors coming up too. Okay, this is about to be a really silly game. Okay, Roaches are gonna push this back. Hellions could probably drive by if they wanted to, but he didn't know if there were any Zerglings waiting over there in the net. Okay, so here's the situation. Solar now sees the additional Hellions. He now knows that he's playing against mech. He's already planted down the Spire though, and he does not decide to cancel it. His opponent is going Hyperflight Rotors, which is a speed improvement for the Banshee. So the Banshee flies around a lot faster. Not quite as fast as the Muta, but the Muta has to decelerate and accelerate whenever it attacks. So usually with, well, cloaked and speed Banshees, you can still get away against Mutalisks. Just a little bit funky, because normally we don't see Mutas against mech very frequently, and we also don't really see a lot of Banshee play against Zerg in general. Now, I'm inclined to imagine that this is, of course, better for Solar, because his anti-air is going to be quite good. But the problem, of course, is as well that the Mutas, yeah, they are good against standard mech, right? Against, like, the vanilla mech style with the siege tanks and the Thors and all the rest of it. But this is a much more battle mech-focused army. We don't really see this all too often right now. I mean, it's relatively popular, but yeah, there's no denying that the Cyclones are not a bad counter against Mutas in general. Okay, so where are the Mutalisks? There they go. Flapping their little wings all the way around the top section of the map. There is a Reaper over here. Not far enough forward though. Banshees now with their Speedy Boy upgrade. Yeah, gliding around. You love to see it. Very powerful upgrade, man. I actually think it's very underrated. It's very good. We'll probably see more of it going forward. Anyways, here's the Muta showing up. Lock-on though does indeed connect very nicely. 7 drones have gone down in the meantime on the other side of the map. Banshees decide to head back home as well. Maybe not entirely sure if they should be flying into the Mutas. Probably not ideal. We have +1 melee coming up together with missiles, so very little survivability on the Zerg army. It's gonna be Roach, Ravager, Lingbane, Muta here. So I guess what Solar's trying to do is just maximize the amount of damage that he can deal and hopefully crash into that Terran army. Have the entire fight last like 1 second, and that would be amazing for him. The problem is though that GuMiho is also speccing in an absurd amount of damage, right? So if this was an ARPG, like for example, he'd be running a glass cannon build himself as well, like Diablo. He'd be running I've been playing a lot of Diablo over the last couple of days. He'd be, yeah, running into a glass cannon build as well, which can work out really well, but when 2 glass cannons face off against each other, we'll have to see who wins. Solar at this point maxed out. GuMiho has secured the 4th base here. Going for additional command centers. Banshees here do actually catch this little Zergling Baneling squad. They're surprisingly good at staying up to speed with all of this. Okay, yeah, let's see. So Mutas with hold position micro. Okay, you can have them sort of move and attack at the same time, but it's not easily done, and obviously if the Banshees get into safety range right there of the Cyclone lock-on, life is pretty good right here for the Terran. Okay, so far I'm really liking this position though for Gumi. Yeah, I've been struggling quite a bit on this map myself. So one problem you run into a Zerg, right, is that you can't really do a whole lot about this particular base. And once this base is up, this expansion up north also feels like it's very easy to take. This whole position of the map is relatively easy for the Terran player to control. And from there on out, they can make whatever army they like. And the Zerg late game armies always seem to struggle against the Terran late game armies. Now so far, we're not even remotely close to that yet. Both players sticking around on a mid game army, but Solar is definitely getting to the point right now. Look at him, adding on so many command setters here as well. He's definitely getting to the point right now where he's gonna have to think about a Terran player going into the late game. Okay, looks like a bunch of units over here at the very least did get cleaned up. Banshee's still hanging out. Hatchery was cancelled but immediately rebuilt. Obviously, as soon as you cancel it, the lock-on is cancelled as well, so the Cyclones decided to get out of there. Solar wants to chase down his army really badly, and I feel like it's actually working out quite nicely for him here. He decides to reinforce this with 46 additional, 48 to 62 additional Zerglings. Very nice corrosive balls right there. GuMiho, of course, known for his slightly lower APM, which, yeah, it does bite him in the butt sometimes in those battles. I feel like you wouldn't be getting corrosive balls to connect like that against most of the top tier Terrans. Okay. Greater Spires coming up. Adrenal Glands fired up as well. Brute Lords are pretty darn good, but with a little asterisk right next to it, okay? This Terran army can just run away from Brute Lords. First and foremost, that's pretty nice. Plus, yeah, here's the Ghost Academy coming up. We have 4 additional barracks now on the production tab too. GuMiho even starting up, for some reason, the wrong upgrade there for the Ghost. I think he should be going for the armor upgrades instead. Anyhow, Zerglings are the lock-on target as well. Both players ready to trade out these armies if they can, but obviously they're trying to squeeze as much juice out of this as possible. No planetary fortress to fall back to just yet. I'm actually surprised we don't see that one started up. Excellent splits here, though. Really lovely work here by GuMiho. Yep. Kiting backwards, doesn't even need the planetary. I feel like the planetary would make life much easier. Now it starts up as well. And in the meantime, he's already taken this expansion over here as well. Interestingly enough, by the way, that's a lot of Banelings. GuMiho's expansion pattern is a little bit different than what most of the top tier Terrans are doing right now. Yeah, most of the time they seem to go for this base a little bit quicker rather than the one over here on the right side, because once you get the one in the middle, really the right side seems almost free. Once again, he's waiting over here, man. Behind the path blockers, or the side blockers rather. That Hellbat just killed 17 Zerglings. So look at him, still going to town against Roaches too. 1 health and a dream, dude. Doesn't even die. What a giga chat right over here. So far, not really liking this all too much for Solar, but he's got a sick economy. He's taking control of a lot of the map. And he can start producing whatever army he likes as well. Can we have a look right here at the units lost and the resources lost? Yeah. You can really tell that the cost efficiency of Terran is already apparent. Okay, so we have this second cloaking upgrade. That's going to be the Ghost personal cloaking. Those Banshees have been amazing, man. Yeah, even against Mutas. Even against Mutas, these Banshees have still been sick. I mean, they are definitely... Okay. As soon as I said it, they are definitely going to die at some point. Yeah. You know what? That was a fantastic trade right there for the Terran in the end. Nicely done right there by Gumi once again. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Banshee play really is something that we should see a lot more, because Hyperflight Rotors is not nearly as expensive as it was a couple of multiplayer balance patches ago, and yeah, I genuinely think they're a great unit. Most of those Banshees had like 15-20 kills each. Anyways, the Brute Lords have now shown up. Yep, the siege tanks here can get targeted as well. Cyclones technically are pretty good, but it's difficult, man. Brute Lords have a lot of range. Maybe they're not the fastest unit in the game, but they're certainly scary. Zerg doesn't have a lot of siege options, but this is definitely one of them. Is he gonna push forward? I think he's gonna think about pushing forward at the very least, yeah. The Banshee's actually also providing a lot of vision here. Siege tanks dealing a bunch of friendly fire. I don't think that's what you want to do. Solar probably should have been kind of scared to engage into this choke point, but I'm actually impressed that he's standing his ground here regardless. This is working out much better for him than I thought it would. Now the ghost count is slowly climbing. Ghost, of course, really good when it comes to dealing with the brutes. Pew, 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 pew. There we go. Okay, we're gonna siege up a bunch of tanks again. That planetary fortress is certainly gonna fall, but that was expensive. Yeah, Solar has some money in the bank, but it's not like he's a super wealthy boy here either, right? I mean, he can remix, that's not the problem. But at this point, there's gonna be command center after command center after command. Look at how many command centers the man's got. He decides to build a new one, okay? These apparently need to not fly. This guy even has 200 energy. GuMiho can basically scan indefinitely right now. This is one of the strengths of the Terran late game, actually, that we don't really talk about that often. A lot of people are complaining about the strength of the Ghost or whatever, right? A lot of people like to complain. But vision and speed and knowledge are incredibly valuable in a game of StarCraft 2. When Terran gets to this point in the game, they're mostly limited by the amount of gas that they've got, right? So Hellbats, obviously, Hellions, they don't cost any gas, but other than that, everything is very gas heavy. Tactical nuke right now on the production tab as well. Lovely. Anyways, once you get to this amount of mineral income, you can start getting rid of... This is really rough right here for Gumi. My god. He just lost so much. Decides to fire up Thors over here, but that was really rough. Don't think you want to be giving away that many units for free. Big mistake. Brutes over here do get sniped too. Anyways, once you've got this many orbital commands, you can scan indefinitely. At least that's what it seems like. And vision, no longer really that big of a problem. Okay. Those, ooh, yeah, no. Those Baneling connections have been nowhere to be seen, honestly. There have been a couple of decent ones in this game, but the vast majority of them have been very mediocre. Not a huge fan of that. Got the Hellbats over here up north. Like, Banelings are amazing, of course, if the Terran player doesn't micro, but we've been seeing some good micro coming out of GuMiho in this game so far. So, yeah, if that's the case, doesn't really work nearly as well. Okay. 11 Hellions being pumped out here all at once. It's a lot of minerals, man. I think he wants to try and secure this expansion. So this one's super important for the Terran. Once it's secured, and once you get some static defense going there, very, very tricky for the Zerg to try and break this. So I wouldn't mind sensor towers, missile turrets, the whole shebang. GuMiho instead, yeah, is gonna have to deal with the Roach counterattacks. So Solar decided to, after teching all the way up towards Brute Lords, to tech back down towards Roaches as well. Get a group of those bad boys going. Maybe not the best unit though, overall in this scenario. Yeah, what Zerg is trying to do is go for a Roach Ravager Ling Bane-based army to try and counter the Ghost. Because if you're going into heavy spellcasters, I mean, sure, it can work out. And sure, it is much more powerful against the average army, but Ghost can also shut it down relatively easily. How many siege tanks do we have at this point? Only 5, but yeah, GuMiho did read that brilliantly. He looked at the unit comp right there from Solar. He's like, wait a second, I don't actually need any more Thors. I'll just be adding on some additional tanks here instead. There's the sensor tower coming up. Look at the amount of mules mining this base as well. 66 workers remain at this point for Solar. Or sorry, for GuMiho. 85 remain for Solar. I would not mind... Oh, he actually decides to go for an attack? Really? I wouldn't mind seeing him drop down the amount of SCVs here, is what I was gonna say. This is working out quite well, but the majority of the Ghosts are still alive. Okay, they do end up mostly getting sniped here. Yeah. That fight, it looked pretty good for the Zerg when it first started, but good control right there on Gumi, of course. Or on Gumi's units. Microing out of the splash damage there to the best of his abilities. None of the actual heavy hitters went down, and this now opens up the front door here for GuMiho to go after this expansion. I don't think that fight was what Mr. Solar was hoping for here. Now we're even sniping down Banelings. No unit is safe, man. I think I saw him rapid fire accidentally onto a Zergling earlier as well with the Ghost. Anyways, reinforcements have shown up, and of course Zerg is very quick to reinforce these sort of armies, because these units take only a few seconds to produce. He needs to back off once again. Can he actually save the Ghosts? Okay, now the Ghosts are starting to fall. Maybe the overextension has somewhat justified the attack, but I still don't think that that exchange was particularly profitable right there for Solar. Resources lost here significantly in favor now of the Terran, who's got a stellar economy as well. We've got ourselves the armory researching the +3. I would not mind seeing a transition towards Liberators or even Battle Cruisers. That would be sick. I've seen GuMiho do both. Liberators would probably be the more reasonable choice, but GuMiho definitely does strike me as a Battle Cruiser guy. He's definitely a Battle Cruiser guy. We have 11 Infestors, by the way, coming up. I think that may actually even be more. Oh, okay, no, I thought a couple of them were already out. Now, 11 Infestors coming up, and he's also getting the Neural Parasite upgrade. So, Solar hoping to see if he can maybe take control of that Terran army himself. He's having a hard time countering the Terran units, but maybe he can try to counter the Terran units with Terran units. Neural Parasite can be used from Burrow. The main problem you run into, of course, is that the missile turrets are detectors. Look at the missile turret guy spinning around right there and not getting dizzy. Lovely work. Okay, yeah, he wants to get this expansion. So it's gonna be a battle for the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock. This is usually how these sort of games are decided. Whoever gets the control is gonna be the happier player. GuMiho retaking this base over here at the bottom. Still quite a bit of gas to acquire, actually. We really should see these gas guys are saturated, man. Yeah, this one is 4 out of 3. This one is 2 out of 3. There's a couple not even built. If anything is gonna bite him in the butt, I think that's it. Fungal growth, of course, also a good option right here for Solar. Rolling around with these units, trying his very best. That Thor's been hanging out in that area for a while. It is gonna get nibbled away at by the links though and will get destroyed. Okay. So we're slow pushing here with static defense. 6 drones have just gone down. Okay. Guess that must have been up here. Yeah, Solar trying to retake as many bases as he can. He still has some gases that he should probably mine over here too, though, because he does have a good income. Oh, he decides to just go right now. This is the moment where he decides to push. A lot of the Infestors do end up falling here. We do have one Neural Parasite, but that one Infestor immediately got shut down. Big EMP right there to shut down the majority of the rest of the Infestors now too. Ghost did get picked up though, and they're gonna be able to get away, but good kill right there on that expansion. GuMiho does not manage to get this base up and running. In the meantime though, he's also building an expansion over here at the mineral fields that were previously mined by the Zerg player. A hatchery though is coming up here. Solar is now gonna find out, wait a second, not what I expected. Sorry buddy. Poor SCP. Caught right there in the splash zone, man. Okay, Zergling counterattack. Love to see that. Really cute move here by Solar. He looked at the amount of units in that area. He's like, you know what? If this is what you're using to defend, I will be able to close the distance pretty easily. And that was like 5-6 tanks going down for just a group of links and a handful of drones. Plus, of course, the expansion was killed. Liberators are coming up. Well, just a single Liberator. We don't have the advanced ballistics upgrade just yet. Unless I am blind, which is certainly possible. A lazy design, by the way, here from Blizzard, right? Both the Ghost and the cloaking field for the Infestor are... Or for the Infestor, wow, that'd be sick. For the Banshee are identical. A lot of dead Zerglings once again, man. I think Blizzard, like, used this as a placeholder. One of the two. I don't know which one. I think they used it as a placeholder at some point and then never actually got around to updating the graphic. I think that's what happened to the cloaking ability. I mean, I understand it's the same ability, but... You need to research it twice. They should probably have at least ever so slightly different icons, right? Maybe I'm mistaken. Anyways, I feel like at some point it was a placeholder and like, you know what? Nah, it's fine. It is fine, but it does look a little funny. It's the only icon that's reused like that. One scan over here would not be misplaced, Mr. Gumi. We've got so many creep tumors you're sitting on right now. A lot more banelings coming up as well. Yeah, Solar doesn't want to tech up to other units here, man. And I understand the feeling, but I really don't know if this is the best call for him. I feel like sitting back here and playing this passively with a low tier army against a maxed out Terran is really dangerous. But then again, in his mind, right, the Ghost counters every late game unit. These bad boys, man, they scare Zergs. There's only 9 of them. We still have the nuke available too, by the way. He doesn't even really have that many ghosts compared to some Terrans at this point in the meta, man. They go up to like 20 plus. Okay. Another hatchery being built up here. We can... Yeah, we can... Okay. Late game planetary fortress rush. Quote unquote rush. Couple SCVs have joined in the fray as well. This is mostly just to trigger the Zerg to run back north. A lot of siege tanks are left behind though. Yeah, Solar going in for the counter. I actually do really like that. Hatchery here eventually does get destroyed. Okay. I think in Solar's mind right now he's thinking, okay, how much money does GuMiho have? And I think he's probably misreading that a little bit. GuMiho has way more money in the bank right now than Solar does. But then again, these traits are all very efficient though for the Zerg. We've now seen, I think like a dozen siege tanks. Yeah, 16 in total going down, but I think like a dozen for free. Well, quote unquote free against just a group of Zerglings. Planetary here up north will get destroyed. Corrosive Bowels will also get rid of that Liberator. Fungal Growth does actually connect with the Ghosts. Chain fungling at least a bunch of those bad boys, and that was a good catch once again for Solar. Okay. Solar playing a very active unit composition, not one that we normally see against these type of armies. And he's making it work quite well, actually. This is going much better here for the Zerg than I thought it would have. Now he's going into 11 Corruptors. Okay, I think he's looking at his bank right now. He's like, okay, this is getting a little shaky. I think he's ultimately ending up with Brute Lord Infestor. No Council on that hatch. Or maybe he's just making Corruptors here to counter Liberators. But yeah, no, he does start up a bunch of Infestors. Or, sorry, he does start up a bunch of Brute Lords. The Infestors right now without energy, though. Scans over here, review everything. Yeah, Infestors currently don't have any energy. Brute Lords are not out yet, so this is an excellent moment right here for Gumi to fight. He does push back this army, he does kill the hatchery. 2 drones also end up going down. Okay. And this is expensive. Solar is running out of juice. He doesn't have a whole lot of money anymore. Good snipes right here by GuMiho. GuMiho only has a very small part of his army. There has to be a whole lot more available somewhere. Yeah, it's all marching across the map right now. Some of it is still in the production tab. I love the medevacs that he still has available right here. They have saved his ass several times already. You know what? I think we can, yeah, drop them off once again, man. Go after a couple of those Brute Lords, and that's exactly what he does. In the end, it's GuMiho who obtains the victory after playing a very oppressive game with Terran Mech.